If you can't tell, it is time to get the Gleaner out. It is fescue seed season for us. Let's run over there and get her fired up. There she is. Thankfully a neighbor lets me keep her under some cover. Let's see if she'll fire up. That's close enough. Watch your fingers. We are blessed, to say the least. Combine fired right up, no issues out of it. Air conditioning's actually working amazing still. The header cart is the only thing we had, not really an issue with, but we had one flat tire and then the other one's low. But fortunately, we have those air tanks with us, so we were able to air up the flat one. We're gonna run over here to Lance's shop and fill the other one up a little bit, and then we should be all right. The girl's ready to run. We've got lights on I need to turn off apparently. All right, combine is ready to go. We spent most of the evening yesterday just greasing everything up, making sure everything looked all right, and it did after we roaded it over here. That was probably the bigger headache of getting here because this thing is actually just massive for our south central Missouri roads. Last thing, like I said though, is we gotta get this fan adjusted. And unfortunately the linkage up there is really tight with it, so what's gonna happen is Jason's probably gonna be underneath, I'll be up there, and we're gonna have to finagle it by hand. All right, Jason's running around spraying some lube on the chains. Everything else is running right now. We are going to get ready to start. So the fan actually is just stiff. It did move, but it was just almost kind of like it's in a bind. And like I said, you got Jason out there, he's just spraying some more chains. There wasn't a lot of recording today. We spent most of our day unplugging the rotor. And no issue of the combine, 100% operator error. We can read books apparently, we just can't follow instructions. So it specifies for fescue to set it to 3/4 of an inch on the concaves. We did everything else. We set the sieves, we set the chaffer, set everything else. Rotor or the cylinder speed. What we didn't set was the concave, and when we went and looked at it after we plugged it, it was set on 1/4 inch. Needless to say, that's a pretty tight spacing and caused a big plug. So we got that unplugged, but we realized that we have another issue. So we did finish this field right here in front of me. We finished that field up, but what we realized was that we have a bigger issue in that we're losing a lot of seed out the back. N5 does not have the small seed kit. We're gonna make one sort of on our own tomorrow morning and let you all see that. It'll be a good time and hopefully make a big difference. There's probably more dogs in our county than there are people. It's pretty wild. Jason has like 9 dogs. I've got 6. Wild, isn't it? Bring this. Hey, look at us. All right. I don't think we want to. I think we stay on this thing. I don't think we're touching that. Yeah, because I could go in more. Yeah. So if we keep this lip even with the outside, then we won't be touching.
I wonder if we shouldn't open that thing up.
Yeah, you might have a point there.
I don't know if we'll be able
to
hit it.
You're probably right, because I think we're going to be above it.
Huh?
I think you're right, because we're going to lock it in on this. Yeah, let's do that.
Anyway.
We can just leave that there.
Alright, we're up above it.
Send it.
3 or 4 more.
Yeah, I brought 10. Because I got 6 inches on center or something. I didn't know how tight that's gonna hold, so rather have too many than not enough. I have to go back. You can still see there's plenty of air coming out. It's blowing the holes out. So those are all holes. Those aren't seeds. All right, now we're gonna go combining and we're gonna see how this works. All right, so the cab might be a little noisy for you guys. I'm not sure. I mean, it's quite comfortable for me. It's just a matter that this microphone is pretty sensitive. Got the important things in here. I got a cooler, I got the dog, and we're just gonna run over here and do a quick test run now that we've got everything set a little better. I ain't got nothing coming through yet. So. Come look at this. Come look at this. There's a dampener, or there should be. Well, we had to add one more piece because when we put the choke over the fan, it actually made things way worse because now what it was doing was pulling air from the chaffer area and all the seed that was over here, it was basically pulling it in, blowing it through the rotor and right out. So when we put this part in, so now we have this choked off as well, makes it to where it can't push any air through here at all. And kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing, of course. But it actually does pretty well with it. Doesn't have a lot of grain loss or anything like that. It actually prevented all of our grain loss. And this is the part number 2 that we made. So you can see right there where we put part number 001, 0001, 001-02. And that was just kind of a joke on our kit. Now, if we can, what we'd like to do is we'd like to actually find a small seed kit for a Gleaner N5 and install a real one because it probably will perform better than what we've made here. However, this is what we had on hand and we made it work for now, but we would definitely like to do something that's going to be far more effective than the little backwoods engineering that we've done here. All right, so just like I showed you, we made those changes and it has been a substantial improvement on the actual grain, or sorry, the actual seed that we're collecting from this fescue field. Now this is our hay field, so we will cut all the fescue seed off of it. All the straw remain is gonna be left with it, but you can see there's still lots of growing content. The undergrowth is very green still. We're gonna cut that for hay tomorrow. All right, so this is day 2 of us harvesting. There was not a lot that happened yesterday other than lots and lots of adjustments throughout the whole day, trying to figure out the best settings to run on. Like I said, this combine came from Illinois, so the last thing it was harvesting was soybeans. And now we're harvesting fescue seed, which is a very different crop. And without the small seed kit, nearly impossible with the rotary machine just because they move so much air that it's really difficult to get it to take the crop in and keep it instead of blowing it out the back like we were having issues with earlier. You guys will be able to see it, but it's shooting a good amount of grain out. It's keeping it pretty well fed. I'm going to attempt to record this and show you guys while I'm also driving and controlling the header. But essentially what happens is all the fescue stems get cut. They lay on this head and then eventually it pushes them towards this auger. And then it pulls them into the combine, goes through the feeder house, through the rotor, through the chafers and the sieves, and all of that comes out right in there. And that's how your grass seed is collected. Now, if you had, so out west they have fields of just fescue. Needless to say, they're going to get way more per acre than we will. But they're also going to have a field that's just straight fescue, and that just doesn't make good hay. So that's why we don't have straight fescue fields. This has got fescue, timothy, not really any brome, but it does have orchard grass in it. And it's also got clover as well. All those things are what help make a really good hay. And this is just kind of a bonus crop that we can take off of that hay field without hurting our hay yield. Because it takes some nutrients out of it a little bit. There's the mama deer. We just scared the baby deer away and the mom's over here looking for it. See the mom?
Yeah.
You just barely see her, now you can see her. She'll find her. Good looking doe. Here at some point we're gonna get you some drone footage. Oh! Woo! I don't know if you've seen that on the camera, but that fawn, we almost got her. I thought she ran the other way.
I did too.
I wonder if she has twins.
Maybe.
It's a full cab. So we have Taco. Her actual name is actually Phoenix, but I call her Taco. He named her Phoenix, but she just looks like a taco. I don't know. She looks like a Chihuahua kind of. So I was thinking like the Yoquito Taco Bell commercials from like way back when. What I thought. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in the video or not, but the reason we're not doing a bunch more than just this is, one, we just planted the hayfield on the other property, so we're not going to do it for at least until next year, probably not even until the year after that, because we wanted to reseed and grow and get to where it's like this. And then the other thing is that the price for fescue seed right now is not very good. It's about 43 cents a pound wet, 45 cents a pound dry, and they're only going to pay you for the purity. So let's say that you have 70% purity, which is not great but not terrible around here. That means that if you brought in 1,000 pounds, they're only going to pay you for 700 of it. So one of those things where it's not necessarily worth your money. However, this is the first year for us using this combine. There's the deer again. Oh, that poor thing, we're just terrorizing her. Taco, leave it alone. So before I was distracted by the deer, the purpose of this for us this year is essentially to get this dialed in, make it to where it's pretty well ready to go for next year, other than having to make minor adjustments to either the concaves or maybe the cylinder speed. But everything else is good to go, and we've got all the quirks for the most part worked out. Unfortunately, because the moisture content in the seeds is a little bit higher than what we really want, 13% is dry for fescue seed. And the 17 to 20% range that we're at is a little bit wet, and it makes it to where it doesn't just slide down and move around like soybeans or wheat or corn would. So sometimes it gets piled up under the intake auger like you just saw, and we unfortunately have to get in there and move it around. Now, is it unsafe to be in the bin while it's running? Yes, it is. However, we only had the auger running in there, and we also know not to touch it, but I do discourage doing that. You're probably wondering, why would I do this before I cut hay? Isn't this going to take away from the value of my hay? Doesn't this make my hay straw now instead of hay? And the benefit for us is obviously we're making more money off of this field to begin with. So not only is it going to produce hay for us, it's also producing a seed product. The established fescue here is far good enough in order to maintain what it's got and not be in a bad position or getting overtaken. So this isn't hurting by taking these seeds off. Secondly, it's not straw, because fescue, yes, is the predominant grass in our pastures and our hay fields. And it does produce well because it grows about 9 months of the year here in south central Missouri. But it's not the only grass in here. There's orchard grass, there's all kinds of other grasses such as timothy, red top, clover. Well, anyways, underneath of the fescue stems that come out that have the seeds, there is still growing blades of fescue grass, and that's really where the nutrition from our hay comes from. It doesn't just come from the seeds that are mixed up in it as well. It's a funny story. I can show you the difference between making hay and making straw. So this right here is wheat stubble. This wheat stubble is from a terrace that we removed, and we planted wheat and fescue. Now the fescue didn't take off as quick because it was real dry, but the wheat did really well, and it grows in colder temperatures than the fescue will. So that's why it's in this field. But you can see that there is absolutely no nutrition left in it at all. It's done. Like the plant has already surpassed its life. It's over with. This is what fescue looks like. So you can take all the fescue seed off of it. Yes, the stems are brown, but other than that, the blades and everything else where all the nutrition is still growing. So that hopefully will answer most of those questions, but it's a pretty common thing around here. And basically what happens is the places that sell fertilizer and other seeds, they're usually the ones that buy it because they will turn around and they'll have it cleaned up, bagged, and then they'll end up selling it here locally. Saves some money for them because they're not having to ship seed from like Oregon and out west where they grow a lot more of it, and also brings in more income for us. Well, now that we've kind of shown you and explained everything that we did to be able to harvest this fescue seed, let's get the drone up in the air and get some outside shots of this thing running. Let you enjoy that beautiful 426 Allis Challmers sound. sitting in our 1981 Gleaner N5, and the unusual thing is that you don't see it a lot on the channel because it's not even parked at our property. The other reason you don't see it a lot is because we use it for 1 week a year to harvest fescue seed. Now you might say, Travis, it's odd for a farm to own a combine that they use once a year, let alone a farm that raises sheep and harvests hay. Well, it's because in south central Missouri, it's pretty common to harvest fescue seed off of our hay fields, and that's what we use it for. So we do that, and then we cut our hay right afterwards. It's a really good running combine, and it took us a little while to get it dialed in. There's a video on the channel if you're interested in that, but really fun to run. We really enjoy it, and it'll be around for a long time. Oh, it has a 190 horsepower Allis Challmers 426 cubic inch diesel. It is a turbo diesel. It's actually the same engine that's in our 8030. The only difference is that this one is turned up more. It makes 190 flywheel horsepower, whereas our tractor makes 150 flywheel horsepower. Our tractor makes 150 horsepower. This combine makes 190 flywheel horsepower. So technically, yeah, the combine is more powerful. The combine actually weighs just as much. Actually, it weighs more than the tractor when you put the header on it. The combine by itself weighs about 20,000 pounds. The header weighs around 7,000 pounds. And just like that, fescue seed season is over. Now, it's not a real stressful season itself. However, since it's combined with fescue seed and with haying, it does get a little stressful, especially in our case where primarily it's just me running equipment. My wife and kids will help collect bales, but none of them are really competent enough yet to run machines on their own. So it does get a little stressful in that aspect, but it went really well. We did about 45 acres this year. Like we talked about, the prices just weren't very high, so it wasn't worth really pushing and going hard because it's just not a lot of money in it. And the other thing is that it's better to let it reseed out and let it be kind of full of seed for another year when the prices are much higher. All that's left to do at this point is for us to clean the machine up and get it put away, which is actually good timing because it's supposed to rain tonight. So I'm gonna get started on this and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next time.